Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So, I want to talk about falling in love with magic. I think this is a good time to have this conversation because this is the month of love and all that other sort of stuff. And it's usually the focus is romantic love, which is beautiful, and work that in as well if you can, because that's a beautiful energetic high I think we can get from working towards or working with romantic love. That's beautiful. So, by all means, I'm not telling you to stay away from that. That's a good thing for some of us. However, there's other types of love. Self-love, obviously. But what about falling in love with magic? What about getting enchanted by magic? When's the last time you fell in love with it, or you recognized how in love you were with just spirituality and witchiness and magic and paganism and all of those words that we use to describe basically spirituality for a lot of us, right? So I'll just jump right in. The first way to kind of get there is to drop your shield. You're going to have to drop your shield. You're going to have to open up to the idea of letting your mind wander, of seeing, sometimes, you're talking. Is it your hair or is it a shadow outside of your, you know, what if I'm looking on this side, I see it's my hair, but if I'm on this side, my hair is back, so it can't be my hair. So what am I saying? That type of thing, and feeling okay with wondering, well, what did I see? What did I see something? Is there something there? And kind of exploring that and wondering, and maybe even having a conversation about it with somebody you know or care about or who respects you. Opening yourself up to wondering. You had a dream about something and you assumed it related to something, and the next day the thing happened that you related it to. Was it a coincidence? Was it not? Wonder, wonder. Let your mind wander away. And of course, along with that, you're going to have to open yourself up to possibilities. The possibilities that just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. The possibilities that you're being talked to, but you're not hearing a voice, but you're being talked to. You follow me? Immerse yourself into fantasy and whimsy. Lucky for you, this is a popular time to be able to immerse yourself in fantasy and whimsy, because in modern times, you can stream pretty much anything. You can watch YouTube videos where people who connect with like Fae magic and things like that. And there's one person in particular, I talked about her channel, Alwyn Oak. She basically brings Fae magic into her everyday life. She's always in nature. Getting out in nature itself can be whimsical, magical, and just experiencing things. If you are in a place where at certain times of year they have like a fairy village they set up, go. Don't worry about it if you don't have any little kids, go. I'm just using fairies as an example. It doesn't have to be that. Look up at the clouds. Go outside and look at the clouds. We used to do that as kids and we would see things. Yeah, do that now. Open yourself up to it. And then keep these thoughts, by the way, keep these experiences in your front of your mind. I'm not asking you to examine them, dissect them, just experience them. Look for magic, signs and symbols, the dreams I talked about. And then finally, this is one everyone doesn't experience. I do. But thought forms that are planted in your mind. For instance, they say some of us, I don't want to say some of us, but you probably are more accustomed to hearing people who may have borderline personality or personality disorders or some sort of psychosis, where they say, I don't know why I did this. I heard a voice, or I was told to do this. I just had this impulsive, incessant need to do this because someone put the thought in my head. Okay, so there's that version. And then there's the other version of some of us who we have I call them thought forms that are implanted in our mind. Now, you can argue by who or where it's coming from. But for some of us, it saved our lives. I've been in close situations where just, some people call it instinct, intuition, your ancestors, a goddess, a god working with you, a spirit, what have you, the universe. Put implants of thought in your mind with detailed instructions on what to do to get out of a situation. Or you're looking for an answer, and in that moment, when push comes to shove, when you're kind of in a moment and you need to make a very quick decision, all of a sudden you a calm comes over you because you just know. There's just a knowing. That would be the right word, a knowing. And there's no voice. And if some of us do hear a voice, but the voice is usually not your own. Some people might be a grandmother that passed off, an auntie, a good friend. You hear the voice. It's a voice. Sometimes you can't even describe if it's male or female. It's just like these words, this idea is in your mind and you don't really know where it came from, and it came on instantaneous. I love those moments, by the way. Now, I will say this, as long as you are not harming yourself or someone, I would say go ahead and listen to those voices, listen to that idea implanted into your mind, as long as it doesn't make you question your existence, as long as it doesn't make you question if you need to still be alive or someone else, you're good. You're good. Or hurting someone else. So, don't listen to that. Now, if it's asked, sometimes that voice will question what you're doing in your existence. Like, now, why are you doing that? I used to hear a voice, it didn't happen often, but it did. And at the time, it used to sound like my mom. And it was like, when I wasn't around her, I could hear her telling me in her voice, "No, don't do that." Or somehow she was like, "No, don't be no fool." Like something like that. And mom is very much alive. So I'm like, does she know how to do that? Does she put thoughts in my head? Yeah. But anyway, get into that. Allow that. Open yourself up to it. There's a balance. This video is not about mental illness. I realize there's some people, what I'm saying could be a little bit more controversial because they could be interacting with some other stuff going on. But that's psychosis, and I'm not equipped to handle that, so I'm not even going to speak to it. But again, if a voice is telling you to harm yourself, if a thought form is telling you to harm yourself or others, or just do something that feels wrong, then don't listen. That's something else. That's not how that works. The second step toward falling in love with magic outside of those things is read and study obscure topics in the family of witchcraft, mythology, and things of that nature. Obscure things you probably maybe wouldn't have thought of, but maybe somebody mentions just a little something and you're like, I know Greek mythology a little bit from media, but I don't know enough about it. And that's sort of your stepping stone. And then next thing you know, you're very specifically involved in something within Greek mythology, or maybe it's something more culture specific, but with a tie to spirituality. You can study these things, benefit from it, learn from it. This is not a political, this is not a social issue of appropriation, cultural appropriation. Remember, we can study other cultures, people. We can study spirituality that we are not accustomed to. I told you to study. I didn't say go out and try to become it and then market it to the people who created the culture. I'm not telling you to do that or try it on for size. No, but you can learn, you can get lessons, right? You can get information that can lead you to other things or help kind of open up something more in you. So there's that. And then the other thing is start with a plan. Start with a plan. Especially with studying witchcraft, I want to say start with a plan and magic altogether. Maybe if you're like me, do a little quick outline. There's actually stuff on Pinterest, by the way. If you were like a magical student, I saw something. I would link it if I could, but I don't remember. But I remember seeing something where it was to the effect of what to study, the order to study things in. You can argue on the order, but anyway, at least it gave a framework. And I would suggest getting a framework of how do you want to approach this? Do you want to start with a deity? Is there a specific goddess you'd really like to know more about? And that's the starting point. Or if you've already been practicing, but you really haven't, you're kind of stale in your practice, or you've been just doing one way and you like to do something else. Okay, what's that something else? Pick something to sort of focus on and let's study that and start with a plan. That's the plan. We'll start here and then we'll go to the next thing and so forth. On the flip side, be willing to abandon your plan. Don't be too rigid about this. Sometimes we need to be taken to a certain point with book learning, and then the next phase is something totally different. And that's fine. And you have to be okay with, putting that plan to the side, maybe picking it back up. But for now, the focus is on something else. These steps help you fall back in. You're being intentional, you're making an effort, and you're opening yourself up. And you're learning, right? Get help. Get help. If you're doing all these steps in the order I'm talking about and you felt like you have, get some help. Mentorships. I offer a mentorship. If you're interested, it's leaptaken.com. I offer mentorships. I do a 6-week for level 2 and a 4-week for level 1, where we meet and I help design a path. And it's not cookie cutter because everybody's not going to be the same way or doing the same thing, but it is customized. So there's a lot of work involved, customized to you, to help you kind of get on a plan or a path of some sorts or get back on, so that you can feel more connected, in your craft, and you're successful in your rituals and spell works and you're feeling something. Sometimes we need an advocate, and I don't look at myself as the know everything person. I look at myself as your advocate. And if not me, someone, that you feel comfortable with, that you feel like gets that. We're adults. We're not looking for necessarily a teacher necessarily. You're looking for someone who is your advocate, but sort of a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more practical knowledge to guide you, because you do want that. To guide you and to, advocate for you, to push you a little bit more, especially since you admitted that that's something you want to do. Sometimes we need just like a cheerleader. We need somebody to check in with and, hey, so how did it work out when, you walked around with that crystal in your bra all day? Did you notice anything? No, you didn't? Oh, okay. Why do you think that is? What do you think was going on? Because now we're in a conversation about blockages, but we're just having a conversation. You need somebody to recognize that and to understand maybe a little bit more about the bigger picture of what else is going on. So get help. The other part of my second step in seeking is watch YouTube videos. You're watching this, great. Okay. Read books, obviously. Journaling about the things that you learn. Sometimes you can teach yourself. You're picking up, you can be led spiritually or divinely to find certain pieces of information that individually just seems like a hodgepodge. You're like, man, I'm all over the place. I'm learning about this, I'm learning about that. But when you write all this stuff down and you put it in one space, then you start to see the picture form. But you got to be able, for a lot of us, we got to put it down, whether it's words on a piece of paper or on a screen, or whether it's imagery, however you want to go about it, that represents each of the topics you've been learning about, put it together. And then the third step is a 3-step process of falling in love with magic. Practice, 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 practice. Create the magic. Now, what that looks like, we have spell books, books on ritual, we have YouTube videos, we have Instagram, we have now TikTok, we have so many ways. You have covens and all types of ways. My mentorship, for instance, to help you create the magic. Create the magic. There are whole days associated to creating magic, lunar phases, astrological events that are great for magic creation. So create the magic. So how do you do that? Ritualize common practices that you do throughout the day. You're showering, you're bathing, you're sleeping, you're waking. When you get into your car, when you first get to work, those rituals, the daily things that you do, ritualize them with a spiritual component to it. For some of us, it might just be a deep breath, breathing. You might not even be saying anything, but that breath work is important. For others, it's saying words. For others, it's crystals. For some of us, if candles are appropriate, lighting a candle and incense. For other people, saging a space, clearing out the space. It can get bigger and bigger depending on what your situation is, but ritualize your activities. Common practices, that's a great start. Then create new rituals. Not even, I'm not talking about spells right now. Create new rituals around cleansing and protection, just as a bare bones basic. Those things are actually important, so that's why most people start with that. Start there, or get yourself back into that mode again if you need to. Cleansing and protection for sure. And then I'm a seasonal practicing type of witch, so I'm going, hence my sign. Get into the habit, if you're comfortable with being aware of the seasons and even calendar events or holidays that aren't necessarily pagan per se or overtly witchy, but most holidays have paganism roots, right? But Valentine's Day, for instance, and focus on self-love. Maybe make your ritual for that. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. It can be something simple as you sit down with your favorite beverage or a treat and you enjoy it and you just allow yourself to really enjoy it and you feel all the feels. That's a ritual. That's a moment of pleasure. A pleasure ritual. Perfect. And the ritual lasts as long as you're eating the candy or the drink or whatever it is, or having the experience. And with a smile, there you go. Or it's gratitude rituals for sure, but create new rituals. That's super helpful. Again, if you lean more to the dramatic, then get dramatic. Go all out, because for someone like you, you'll feel something more. The other part of the third step practice piece is spell work. Yes, spell work. So do some spells. Simple candle spell. Something simple. Get a chime candle. I love these for most of my work. Simple candle spell. For sure. A self-love charm. Basically, you have a phrasing. It can rhyme or not. Rhyming helps to remember, but basically, yeah, you just say this, and if you struggle with confidence, if you struggle with seeing the beauty within yourself, outwardly and inward beauty, some of us struggle, right? Have this charm ready to go to say. You might even want like affirmations and things of that nature. Write your charm if you feel safe to have it, displayed someplace on a mirror in the morning. A lot of us we have to do that, and it's the spell. It's a spell. You're spelling yourself. You're spelling yourself until eventually the spell completely takes root, and you no longer have to do that. You know what I mean? You just believe. And that, for some of us, that's a process. So this is one of those spells that is ongoing. But yeah, you can do that as well. And they can be very effective. I love charms, doing charm spells and things like that. The other part of practicing is divination. Now, divination is going to be what you're drawn to is what you're drawn to. For me, it's going to be my cards, for sure, Oracle Tarot cards. I've created my own, I call it little wooden cubes or dice to use for divination as well. I have symbols that I had put on there that symbolize certain things that make sense to me. And when I throw the cubes on the table, when certain things come up, I know what it means. So I like that too. And then I have pendulum if you're interested in doing that. Some of us, I know it's frowned upon, but maybe a spirit board. I'm not against this. I don't have this thing. I'll be honest with you. It's not many witchcraft tools, supplies, or paths or things that I'm really against. I just feel like I have the power. There's nothing that's more powerful that I have in front of me than me. Can I be influenced? But it's a portal and you're opening up. I know who I am. I know what kind of witch I am. I know the people on my team, spiritually speaking, as well. I'm good. I'm good. I'm not uncomfortable using a spirit board or a Ouija board, as they say. I'm not uncomfortable. Those things don't upset me or make me think, because I feel like, well, do you not have control over yourself? Did you follow protocol? And if for some reason, even after following protocol, you genuinely felt that something connected itself to you, well, then we will work on getting that off of you, and that's a learning experience. Don't be afraid, which I'll end with. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid in magic. Don't be afraid of um, negative consequences, because what you're doing, as most witches is going to tell you, if you're sitting here constantly think about what could happen negatively, you're drawing that energy. Oh, I'm afraid. I want to do it, but I'm afraid. Oh, I'm afraid. I've been in groups like this, and people's like, I don't know. I want to see, but what if something comes? And what if you don't take your little spooky behind somewhere, then we don't need to do it because you're too spooky and you're getting on my nerves. I have patience, don't get me wrong. But if you're saying you're interested, because you are putting that energy on the rest of us in the room with you, don't do that. Don't do that. And if you're alone, you're alone. It's just you. You don't have anybody over here trying to talk you sense into you. So maybe this is not something you do need to be doing. But divination in general, because I want to kind of touch on that in fear, you need to work on your fear factor when you're working with divination, witchcraft in general, but definitely divination, because every card will scare you. Because honestly, even happy cards you can make it dark, you can make it negative, you can make it into something that is still a precarious situation. You can pull the happiest card out of the deck and still be like, but for how long will it last? There are some people who just are constantly worrying. I used to be one of them. So I go in on this topic easily because I was one of those people. Yeah, but when is it going to start? And how long am I going to be this way? What, girl, if you don't just be happy and enjoy happiness, maybe the key is finding you're happy so that you're not in constant fear of it being taken away from you. And then you can fall in love with magic and you can appreciate it because you're not constantly questioning everything that you do and everything that magic represents to you. But I digress. Those are the steps to help you fall in love with magic. So the first step, drop your shield. Second step, seeking. And the third step, practice. Maybe not everything I mentioned, but try some of those things if you are just looking to become enchanted and to fall in love. Before you can get into, manifesting, and before we talk about what's going to happen on the new moon and the full moon, immerse yourself. Get yourself mentally, emotionally prepared by just dropping your shield. Just, the adulty things that we tell ourselves and the practicalities, kind of ease that a little bit. So open yourself up to whimsy. And then, so you're interested in moon magic perhaps and things of that nature. Okay, well, study it. Why the full moon? Why do I need to do this during the full moon? Or why can't I do that? Seek answers and really start kind of, those are the things, dissect it, see what fits, shake it up. And then, of course, put it into practice. So, I studied about this. I opened myself up to it. I think I'm ready, to put my crystals out for the first time. Or I think I'm ready for the first time to, light a candle for the new moon, a white candle or a black candle or something. I don't know. I picked this color because of this. And I chose this particular candle for that reason. And you now can put these things into practice and they make sense because you added some depth to it. You're not just doing something because you saw somebody else do it, and then lo and behold, once the effect of that candle, the crystal, or whatever it is that you're doing, when you feel the effects of it, that's when, that's magic. That's the magic. And then you're going to want more of that. And then you're a decade into witchcraft. And there you go, or more. Actually, I'm older than that. But and then you're really practicing and then you're in it. And it ebbs and flows and highs and lows and all that in between, but you're in it. So follow those steps just for help with falling in love with witchcraft. All right, so thank you for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Thank you to Leap Taken members. I do appreciate you. And again, if you're interested in joining Leap Taken as a member, go ahead and click that join button. I have a short video to the point that explains exactly what it means, what the levels are, and for any type of mentoring services where I like to believe I work as your advocate for you. Go ahead and go to leaptaken.com. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.